Holy shit, we have Pokemon Sun and Moon news finally, and we're here today to do a little discussion. I'm here with Charlotte and Tyler, and want to go over the new footage we got today.
Cool.
So,
right.
My God.
So first of all, did you like footage?
Yes, I did. It was good.
It was good.
It was okay. I mean, could have been better. What do you mean? It was brilliant.
I have to say, this is actually from a reveal trailer. This is probably the most hyped I've been for a Pokemon game in a long time, because these look really good. So I think what we're going to do first is we're going to dive into a little bit of what we see from the characters in the trailer. The protagonists and all the characters really look a lot more proportional to real people in a similar way to Colosseum. What do you think about that? Yeah,
I like that. It makes the characters look less like a 5-year-old.
But legs.
See, I was a major fan of the chibi style of the other ones. Oh, hello. Oh crap! I forgot my dog Pokemon. Oh well. Lollipop. So yeah, I don't know. I think the style will grow on me, but at the moment I'm not a major fan of it. But then again, when I first saw the models in X and Y, I didn't like them either, because I thought that they didn't translate well from 2D to 3D, and then, they're what I've grown accustomed to, and I think they look great, so give it time. Yeah. I think, I think they're fine. But, we actually see quite a few characters in the trailer, and we're wanting to speculate that, the person who shows you the free Pokemon is the professor of that region. And with thinking, this game's obviously based around Hawaii and its region. We'll get on to that later in a bit more in depth, but we're thinking, he's going to have some kind of plant or tree-based name, so we've been speculating either Professor Palm, which is Tyler's main idea.
It works, it sounds nice. You think Hawaii, you think palm tree.
Yeah. I'm quite for Acacia. I think, it sounds quite nice. It kind of fits with a lot of the other professor names, I think. And another oddball choice is Banyan. I can't see that one coming to fruition.
Yeah, I'm so sorry about that. Neither, but it's because in the background there are trees that look like banyan trees.
Interesting.
What is your dog doing?
I don't know. He's having a fit. I'm so sorry. You seen the kitty cat? I'm freaked.
But yeah, we've got another character, Kukui, in this trailer. Probably pronounced that wrong. I don't know what his official pronunciation will be. It's some Hawaiian, but I can't say. But he has an interesting quote at the start, and he says, "Welcome to paradise, cousin," which makes me believe, in a similar vein to Ruby and Sapphire, the protagonist won't be native to the region and comes from somewhere else. And I'm thinking they're either going to be from Unova or Kalos.
So,
I think personally, it'd probably be from Kalos, because that was the last gen region, and it just sort of brings the two together and puts them together.
Enlightening.
That could also relate to the strange souvenir.
Yeah. In Pokemon X and Y, there was an item called the Strange Souvenir, who you could get from a backpacker randomly in hotels, and it looked oddly like a Polynesian tiki doll. And he was saying it came from another region that wasn't any that we'd seen before. So I'm pretty sure that will link to this region.
In some way.
Yeah. Going back to Kukui again, I'm thinking, he does wear what looks like a lab coat. I'm guessing he could probably be the professor's aide. But it's also not out of... Well, actually, no. Ignore what I was going to say, though. Yeah, I'd say it's probably the professor's aide, or at very least just, a local tour guide or something.
Yeah. I mean, he's wearing a lab coat, or what appears to be a lab coat.
Yeah, it could just be an open white shirt.
Yeah.
So that remains to be seen. It could even be like a tour guide, or just, a local.
Yeah.
Yeah, so Also, in the trailer, we see another character. I'll show him on screen now. That I believe to be the rival of the region. He just, looking at him, he seems similar in age to us, and he seems to have like that very cocky personality, smug smile that kind of goes hand in hand with what the Pokemon rival is. Would you agree with that?
I think so. Yeah.
What do you
I mean,
think
the way
that's
just
for?
like run up to you like gleefully, and you've got like the opposing colours as well, of like you with the blue and then with the orange.
Yeah, because they're complementary colours. So. Okay, so we're going to talk about the region now. We have a name for it. It's Alola. It's with it being an island region and with that name and the aesthetic of it, it's definitely, without a doubt, based on Hawaii. There's tiki masks everywhere.
I mean, it's not confirmed, but it's confirmed, isn't it?
It's very clear to see.
Yeah.
People's clothing as well. We also saw one of the new cities in the trailer, and looking at how it looks, we think it's based on Honolulu from Hawaii. Kind of like how in Kalos you had Lumio City, which was a parallel to Paris. So maybe that could be the central hub of the game.
Potentially.
Yeah.
It's got quite a nice design from what we can see, like the nice bit with the rocks going out into the ocean.
Yeah. It's definitely a solid design. I'm really looking forward to. It's like one of them you see and you can't wait to explore it.
Yeah.
It looks massive. Like that looks like a massive place. Probably not unlike the grandeur scale of Lumios. That was ridiculous, and I think that's too big, and they should never have a city of that scale again in a Pokemon game. Or if they do, at least make it a little bit more navigatable. But it looks like it has a nice structured layout to it. Everything has its place. You have the bit in the sea, the bit to the coast. You have your tall tower. So it's all landmarked and telegraphed nicely. So we're thinking it could be close to Unova, because Unova is based on New York City, which is also in America. And Charlotte had a good point. Would you like to bring that up?
As Mark was thinking that it could be close to Unova and all this, I thought that maybe that could allow for another 2-region game, like Heart Gold and Soul Silver, which would be very nice because, more to explore and all that, and it adds a lot more length to the game, a lot more to access, which was kind of a complaint with the last generation.
Yeah, Gen 6 was really lacking in that regard. I mean, the only thing you really had in terms of post-game was legendary hunting, and that was it. In previous generations we've had, in Gen 2 you had, the whole of Kanto to explore. In Gen 3 you had the Battle Frontier, which was way more interesting than Battle Resort. In Gen 4 there was like this island off to the side which had it's like a massive island, loads of different areas, completely new national dex Pokemon and everything. It was just so much more, and Gen 6 didn't have any of that, and it was really disheartening, because when I finish a Pokemon game, I don't want to stop playing Pokemon. I'm in my Pokemon high.
The Pokemon high.
Yeah, and besides playing the metagame, there wasn't really a lot else to quench that. So I'm really hoping for it. I'm not saying I'm thinking it will happen, but it's what I want to. So, volcanoes.
Volcanion.
I mean, Volcanion is an event legendary at this point, but we still don't really have any in-game context for it. And
No.
I'm hoping that maybe the new movie with Magiana will shed some light on that. And I'm really hoping it is linked to the Alola region. Because,
Hawaii
Hawaiian volcanoes. It's it's a match made in heaven, really.
Yeah.
And granted, while Volcanion's design is a lot more Japanese, I still think it would fit in nicely with the whole volcano aesthetic.
Yeah.
Aesthetic.
I mean, Hawaii, where else is a better blend of fire and water?
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's, we've kind of talked about characters, region, and they're all nice, but
Yeah,
the
they're
real
alright.
meat and taters is down there in the Pokemon.
Oh god.
The starters.
This is the hype.
This, I would arguably say, this looks like the best set of starters we've had since Gen 3.
Ooh, strong
Going out
statement.
on a limb there.
Yeah. At least in their base forms, comparing their base forms to the other base forms of starters. I don't think we've had that good a lineup since Gen 3. And first of all, what teams are we all on? Team Rowlet.
Poplio.
I am also on Team Rowlet, but I think for the purpose of this video, I'll fight in the corner of Litten.
But yeah, we do.
Poor little Litten.
But Kenny, who isn't with us now, he's Team Litten, and John is Team Rowlet. So Charlotte's a bit on her own with Poplio love, but
And from what I've seen in like YouTube comments and stuff, everyone seems to be hating on Poplio. Why?
yeah.
Why are you hating on Poplio?
Because it's going to turn into a clown, and clowns are terrifying.
Oh, it's so cute. Yeah, but it can go from cute to scary, which is essentially what starters do.
Yeah, I suppose.
Yeah. I've not got nothing. That's horrible grammar. I've not got anything against Poplio. I think the other two are a lot more solid and have a lot more potential going for them.
Litten's a cat.
Yeah,
It's
but
just
I
a cat.
think when it's fully evolved, and also
It's going to be a tiger, though, when it's fully evolved. It has to be.
It's going to be some kind of wildcat. I think it could be like a lynx, so maybe something like that. And I'm pretty sure it's going to be dark type. That's how I'm feeling with looking at it.
Yeah.
Which would be a nice parallel to Houndoom, having a fire dark cat.
Yeah. And because I play the metagame, I've been thinking about like what stats I'd want from these Pokemon, and Litten seems to me like it would be a good mixed sweeper. Very similar stat-wise to Infernape in how that can fulfill both roles, and its major trait being its speed. And I think with its stab moves, and if it gets some good coverage moves, that could actually be quite high in the tierings. I'd say at least UU if they make it right. Obviously, you two aren't big on the metagame, are you?
No, not really. As long as it looks nice.
Yeah, so we're on very different perspectives here. But, yeah. So...
But I mean, speaking, like, purely aesthetic, within the battle, you've got, like, Litten, who appears to, like, when a cat gets scared and arches its back, it has that sort of characteristic when it's shooting its fireballs, where you can see, like, a few spikes right out its back. And then with Rowlet, you've got how it can turn its head a full 180 degrees to look back at the trainer just to make sure it's doing everything okay.
Rowlet does look amazing. I think its design is easily the most solid. And another point about Rowlet and Litten that I find really refreshing this gen is they do not scream out their type's colour like they normally do. Like, Rowlet is a nice tan brown colour rather than some kind of garish green that it's always been. And Litten, while having quite a bit of red on it, it's neutralised by the amount of black it's got.
Yeah. And then the burning yellow eyes.
Yeah. I think they're both really solid designs.
Yeah. And then there's the clown.
Water bubbles, though.
Yeah. Okay, so Charlotte, would you like to argue some points for Poplio then, and talk a bit about that?
Well, for one, I know that there's been quite a few seal and sea lion Pokemon that's been one of people's main arguments against it, but Litleo, Cat, kind of a bit hypocritical there. But Poplio is the only other clown-based thing that I can think of is kind of Mr. Mime, but he was more of a mime than a clown. Am I missing anything there? Based.
There's Mime Junior, which is a lot more
Again,
clownish. Yeah, that one is definitely a clown, but even so, I'd say Poplio is quite original. As long as it's like, okay, what I'm really hoping for with Poplio, more than anything else, is that it doesn't become an ice water.
Oh God, no.
There are
But a lot of
them.
people are thinking that it will be, aren't they?
Both
speculating.
Both of the current seal Pokemon have already gone down that road, and I would prefer it not to.
It needs to be individual.
Yeah.
Also, I'm really interested to see where they're going to go with 3-stage evolution on this, because I can kind of see where they go with a cat, an owl not so much, but a seal.
With the owl, you can see the second stage, an
Just a
adult
bigger
owl, yeah. But then what happens the next stage?
Well, one thing you could argue for Rowlet is it kind of looks like a seed. So it could be the growth of the plant.
It's going to grow a tree on its head. Yeah.
So it could at least grow leaves or something, you know. I think a very leafy final evolution would be pretty solid.
Yeah, I think that'd look quite interesting.
Yeah. One other thing I want to bring up about Poplio is it's kind of similar to a scrapped concept of a starter from Generation 2 being Karusu. I'll show it on screen now. It was put with two other Pokemon called Happa and Honoguma, and for the beta demo, but none of them Pokemon ever made it to the final cut. But I kind of like how they could be incorporating a bit of that in there, like, you know, not entirely wasting that design. And I kind of want to see them do that with Honoguma as well, because, you know, a fire bear, not as a starter obviously, but somewhere in the game I would like that fire bear to be a thing.
That would be interesting, yeah.
So yeah, I was also, in terms of stat-wise, I was kind of hoping it would be a fast special sweeper. Originally I was thinking of bulky water rather than sweeper, but it does reference in its Pokedex entries that it can actually go quite fast. So I'm thinking they'll probably tend towards that direction.
But it does so it can go fast in water, doesn't it? And that it's slowed on land. So I'm going the other way with that.
Okay, in that case I think it could make a very good bulky water. Prioritize it in HP and special attack, kind of similar stat set to Vaporeon. That could actually be pretty solid. So
all over my head.
Yeah. So does anybody have any other statements on their starters? Is there anything?
What stats are you thinking for Outlet? Because I don't think you've touched on that yet.
Alright, I'd probably say it'd be like a bulky support Pokemon. I can imagine it being very good at subseeding, you know, for anybody who knows what I mean by that. Defog, you know, getting rid of them hazards. It would have a very similar role to Pokemon like... I was just trying to think of others that would have that set. Like, I've kind of described two different things there. Like, you'd have subseeders like Jumpluff, but then that wouldn't be a defogger. So it'd be kind of nice incorporating the elements together, actually. I've been seeing a few sets going around what it could potentially be, but obviously we don't know stats yet, and that's the one thing I want more than anything at the moment, is some base stats on the Pokemon. But yeah, I'd say that's pretty much everything I've got for the starters, other than #Team Rowlet.
I will second that.
Poplio! So let's get on to the really, really, really interesting stuff then. What are you thinking of the legendaries?
#Team Sun.
There's one point I want to make about the legendaries. I had... there's no way to prove this, but I had a theory a while ago that they'd go with the similar designs to the Mega Man Battle Network 6 Psybeasts, Gregar and Falzar, which were a lion and a strange bird-looking thing. And the lion came true, and the I don't know what the moon thing is, it's kind of a bat. But, you know. I don't know why I thought that, but I was playing Mega Man and I looked at the cover of it and I think they would be good Pokemon legendaries.
But of course, there's no way to prove this.
Yeah, but Gregor and the Sun legendary do actually look very similar.
Yeah.
So, Tyler, you dug up a very interesting bit of information about, an idea you had about the Sun legendary. Would you like to go forward on that?
So, saw the legendaries and just went theory hunting straight back into ancient mythology. So if we go back to ancient Mesopotamia, there was a guy, or a god, should I say, called Shamash, who was a solar deity and basically became the god of justice. Now, obviously, you've got the solar deity relating to Pokemon Sun, but he could also appear in the form of a lion. So what do we think about that?
I really like the idea of justice, and obviously since, lions are typically seen as very regal, they are the law.
Yeah.
I would like to see the justice versus chaos and disorder dynamic going with the Bat legendary.
Yes, agreed.
That could be very interesting.
Yeah. I've heard some theories of people going around saying, the moon Pokemon might be the Pokemon of death, and I don't like that one, mostly because it's veering very closely to Eviltal, and with its design anyway, I'd rather they steer away from that. But I don't think they will, and I kind of do like justice versus chaos.
Yeah. Well, going on to that, also in ancient Mesopotamia, alongside Shamash, was a guy called Sin, also known as Nana, and he was the god of the moon. So, could there be a relation between them two? Possibly, maybe, don't know.
Well, that's interesting because a few months ago, actually I think it was last month, Cerebi found out that Nintendo had filed a patent for 2 names for the legendary Pokemon, and what were they? It was.
Side note: it wasn't Nintendo that filed the patents. It was under another name.
Oh right, okay. But these patents were filed that Cerebi dug up, and oh god, what were the names?
One sec, I'm getting it.
It was like Solio and.
Mark Stall.
Oh, I'm pretty good at playing Stall. got them Quagsires up there. Blissies.
Blissey.
But yeah, the gist of it was that the Sun legendary had Leo in its name, which, adding to the fact that this lion has been released, that kind of creates correlation there. And the Moon legendary had Nana in its name, or was it Nana or Nana?
I think it was just similar to it.
Okay, it sounded very similar. So it could kind of link in with this mythology. I think there is a lot of weight to it.
There's also the what you're saying that there was a possible third in this group, Tyler?
I've got the names. Just
cool.
Before we move on to that bit, I've got the names. Right,
Okay.
there's Solgaleo and Luna Lana.
Yeah, Luna, that one.
Yeah. So, yeah, it could very well be them.
Yeah.
Alternatively, it could just be, a lucky guess on the Leo thing. A lot of people were thinking lion.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a possibility. So this third guy.
So this third guy is called Ishtar, who was the goddess of war, also around in ancient Mesopotamia. So she was also called the goddess of rain and thunderstorms, and had an association with another guy who was the sky god, and the goddess of war and fertility. Could that present another idea between the justice and chaos type thing?
Possibly, but what is interesting about Ishtar is aren't the 3 of them together known as the Astral Triad?
Yes, that is true. Yes.
So that could lead to the trio master of this set. You know, it could be the same as Rayquaza, Giratina, Kyurem,
Zygarde.
Kind
of.
along them lines. I'd say it could lead to a third one, like, I don't know, Pokemon Star. But having said that, we never got a Pokemon Z, which I'm, you know, we're getting Sun and Moon this year, so I'm not complaining.
Pokemon Star or Pokemon Eclipse?
Ooh.
I want Team Eclipse. I think that would be a good one.
Eclipse does sound nice for Sun and Moon.
Yeah. Yeah.
The two coming
nice.
together.
Yeah.
However, with this Shimash, Sin, and Ishtar theory, there's a big problem. These are all gods from ancient. These are all gods from ancient Mesopotamia. Ancient Mesopotamia is a long way from Hawaii.
Yeah.
A very long way.
Yes.
One thing I would like to add on that though is, you know, they're not just going to base it off of one particular thing. I think they will take into account a lot of different design elements here. A lot of previous Pokemon, especially when they relate to mythology, have a lot of sources to them. You only need to look at Pokemon like Raikou, Landorus, even like Arceus. Like Arceus takes interpretations of several different gods, ignoring the fact that it is, you know, a deer or a goat. I don't know what it is.
God goat.
But yeah, we did find some things on Polynesian mythology, which could link in a bit closer to home. What do you think about that, Charlotte?
So working on the assumption of Hawaii, which, you know, it's definitely Hawaii pretty much at this point. I kind of was thinking about Lono and Ku. I'm probably pronouncing those wrong. Sorry if I have anyone. But Lono was the god of fertility. And there's a Makihiki festival that's held during some of the months of the year from October to February. And kind of Lono was kind of in control for those months, and then from February back round to October, the god called Ku was in control. And Ku is the god of war, and sacrifices were made to him and all this kind of stuff. Interestingly, side note, Lono was arguably the origin of the sun and the moon in Polynesian mythology, because Lono used a net to fish up the sun and the moon from the seas and set them into orbit. So that's a bit of a link there. I thought this could be interesting because of like the competition kind of between Lono and Ku, and showing like a power imbalance, which could be related to the plot of the game. And there was also this belief that in order for one to take control, the other one had to ritualistically die, which some people believe is why the Hawaiians killed Captain Cook when he landed there, but that is very debatable. So I thought that was kind of an interesting one. And also Tyler did a bit more digging for me and found that Polynesian myths describe creation as a process of growth from a primal state of chaos into like order, which as we discussed before, we would think it could be a big theme of this. So Ku could be disorder and Lono could be order, and then they can't exist at the same time.
I like this idea of like Lono having like control for one part of the year and then Ku for the other, because it's just how day and night works.
Yeah.
Another thing I was thinking of, it's kind of just popped up, but in a similar way to how Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire had the two different teams trying to compete for land and sea, why had two tribes that worshipped each of the legendaries, and depending on which version of the game you had the one trying to bring forth that legendary to rock the balance in their favour.
That is a very cool idea.
They're going to do a Mr. Burns. They're going to block out the sun.
I'm all for
that. But yeah, I think that could be an interesting direction they could go, you know.
That could be very interesting.
You know, a tribal enemy team.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, we also did find a Polynesian bat goddess. we couldn't find much information on it, and we're thinking it's quite a minor goddess, but there is one called Lutogi. Tyler, you found this, didn't you?
Yes. So, Lutogi was a princess, I believe, of Samoa. And she was sent to the neighbouring island of Tonga to become the wife to the king of Tonga. One day she was walking and she found a wounded baby bat. So Lutogi took pity on him, nursed him back to health and set him free. Anyway, events transpired and Princess Lutogi became a scapegoat, there we go, and sentenced to die by fire, being accused of a witch. So she was about to be lit on fire, but the bats came and saved her and took her and freed her. And as such, she was exiled. The king thought she was going to starve to death, but the bats provided her with food and water, and eventually she became the goddess and protector of the bats.
So yeah, I think it could be quite interesting to bring some of that in there. You know, it is Polynesian. Bat goddess, it works.
Yeah.
I just point out the most interesting part of that story is that she was saved by the bats by them urinating on the fire.
Yeah,
just gonna throw that
casually
in there.
skipped over that bit.
Yeah.
One other thing is that John's not with us on this discussion, but he'd like to point out that he would have hoped that the Moon Legendary was a wolf, and I can kind of see where he's coming from that, with like a combat between a cat and dog.
Yeah.
But personally, I'm quite happy with one that's grounded and one that's flying. I don't know. I think that's just, to me, that's a more interesting dynamic.
The magic dream catcher.
Oh yeah, actually, yeah, that is another thing we thought of is in the trailer it shows the attack animation, and when it shows that he folds his wings into one large circle, and the patternings of his wings within that do resemble a dream catcher. And although they're not, like, they don't originate from Hawaii, they are still quite popular in Hawaii. So there could be a design element of that brought in from there as well.
Yeah.
Of course, this could be, just like, this could be a theory on the lines of Evil Tall was a tuning fork or whatever. Because that was quite a popular theory that's going around back when X and Y were coming out.
Hey, maybe the giant bat is sound type.
I was
just speculation here.
I was discussing this earlier, that there could be a very, very slim chance of the Sun and Moon legendaries being light and sound type.
No new types, it's difficult enough already.
Yeah.
But that could be interesting.
Like, it could be interesting, but I don't think we need any more types. I think all the typings in the game now are fairly balanced.
Yeah.
I'd say if there was anything, something else that was super effective against Fairy would be nice, but other than that, it seems okay in the metagame.
See, what I'm interested in is, because if they can't really afford to introduce any more types like they have done, so what's the new gameplay element they're going to bring in? Because they've already got megas.
Yeah.
And if they want to, like, add something more to the playstyle of the game, they're going to have to do something pretty drastic to kind of top that.
I think at this point they've kind of well-rounded the mechanics. I think it's just a matter of adding more items, more new moves, and more new Pokemon, mainly.
I can imagine people being very displeased with that.
I mean, Gen 6 was the first time they really brought in a major gameplay difference for a while. Like, Gen 4 and 5 didn't really do anything new. Well, I tell a lie there. Gen 4 was the time of the physical special split. That was more so just fixing an error with it rather than adding something new.
Yeah.
So the last time would have probably been Gen 2 when they introduced Dark and Steel types. So honestly, I would not be that mad if they didn't include any new major gameplay element. I think, the formula works, just add more Pokemon.
Works for me. So, should we move on to, final thoughts on what we think?
Yes. In fact,
Yeah.
one... Hold on, actually, there is one thing that could be a new element, is in the anime we have seen something called burst evolutions.
Yes, I was hoping you would move on to that.
Is that the thing where they combine with humans? Or is that something else?
Yeah, Ash's Greninja thing.
They don't necessarily merge. Like in the anime, they show it, and they don't merge at all. It's just, I think it's more so just them coming into sync, maybe like in a high friendship level or something.
Right.
They're just extremely compatible, and they take attributes of the trainer.
Right.
I don't know if that could be incorporated into the game because of, well, for one thing, with customization, the character variation.
Oh, yeah.
Incredible.
Yeah.
But I think there is maybe just like, they could add another form to certain Pokemon that can achieve this type of thing. And I wouldn't be against it. So yeah, shall we round off with final thoughts?
Yep.
Okay. I really like what they've shown. I'm particularly interested in the Sun Legendary more than any. I really like the lion design. And I'm really excited to see what new Pokemon they bring, the story elements, and most importantly how the starters work. What do you think about things, Tyler?
I like the new visual take on the characters, giving them a bit more proportionality. Yeah, just giving us some really different new Pokemon. I do like
typings. We want original typings.
Please.
And also just like some cool post-game material. Do something really good and really complex with that strange souvenir. Make that something really special, I think.
Did we mention the strange souvenir?
Yeah, we mentioned it
Briefly, yeah.
Oh, okay.
And then, just give us some cool post-game narrative twists that we can explore.
And on to Shiluki.
I like the new legendaries, but I think they're going to have to be careful to avoid associating them too much with Pyro and Eviltar and all that, because there's going to be some... I hope that they've done something to make them really unique in that regard.
Yeah.
I really want a water fighting Pokemon that's based on pirates. I'm sorry, I just really want that. And I like that the Bat Legendary, when it attacks, visually seems to move into the shape of a moon, like the phases of the moon. I like that, and I think maybe they could incorporate a maybe a time mechanic into that. I don't know, maybe that might be a little bit.
I doubt it.
Oh well. I couldn't dream. But yeah, pirate Pokemon, please.
So, down in the comments, we want to know what version of the game you're going to get and which starter you'll be choosing.
Hashtag Team Rowlet and Sun.
Tweet us as well if you want. I want to see plenty of them hashtag Team Rowlets in there. And I'm sure Charlotte is desperately craving
Poplio,
Team
please.
Poplio.
Please, someone join me.
So, yeah.
So alone.
Thank you for watching, and if any more information comes out, then we'll keep you up to date.
Cool.
Bye.
Bye.